I am Prithviraj M K, and I will be walking you through the XXE injection. It's a dangerous vulnerability that hides in a plain sight and inside XML files. In this slide, we will discuss about what is XXE injection, how XXE vulnerability arises, common attack scenario, lab-based demonstration, and prevention techniques. Let's see what is XXE injection. XXE injection is a type of security vulnerability that happens when an application processes XML input like from a file upload and allows attackers inject malicious data into XML. At that time, attackers can connect to internal system through the app. Let's see how XXE vulnerabilities arise. Some apps used XML to send data between browser and server. Many web applications use the XML as a format to exchange data between the front end and back end. At that time, attackers inject malicious code and into the XML. Then these apps often rely on built-in XML parsers to read data. When the server receives this XML data, it typically uses built-in XML parser pre-written library functions to process and understand the data. At that time, also XXE vulnerabilities arise. XML has risky features like external entity that can be misused. XML has risky feature that is external entity. These were designed for flexibility, but they can be misused. For example, attackers can craft XML input that tries to read sensitive file and interact with the internal system. At that time, also XXE vulnerability arises. Parsers support this feature by default. Even if the app doesn't need them, the parsers support these features like external entities. Let's see what are external entity. External entity is a special XML loaded from outside sources like files or URLs. They can expose sensitive files or let attackers access internal system. Let's see common XSC attack scenarios. One, retrieving system files. One of the most common attacks involves reading sensitive files from the server. For example, on Unix system, an attacker might access etc passwd, which contains user account details. This happens when XML parser process external entity uh, pointing to the local files. At that time, attackers can easily get the user details from the local files. Server-side request forgery. In SSRF attack, the attacker tricks the server into making HTTP request to internal or protected services like a private API or metadata services on cloud platform. Since the request comes from the server, it can bypass firewall and authentication that it thinks it's a authorized request. Then denial of service. XSE can also be used to perform denial of service attack. Example, billion love attack, where a XML input expands into a massive amount of data in memory that crashing or freezing the server. First one, file disclosure. Attackers can read server files from the server system. This include configuration file, password file, or API keys. Server-side request forgery. XSE can be used to make unauthorized request to internal system. While this server act as a proxy to send HTTP request to the internal system, This could be allow them to access internal APIs, metadata, and endpoints. Denial of service. Attackers can use recursive entity expansion to exhaust the server memory or CPU. This can crash the application or degrade the performance of the application. Remote code execution. In some cases, XE can lead to full system compromise. Then say demo. Access the lab. Access the lab. Here we go to the on product. Then intercept the check stock. Okay, proxy intercept is on check stock. Yeah, send this into repeater. With code here and change the product item to and XSE semicolon. Send this. Here we got latest missing, so we copy this and add this into after the source that is IP address. Then same. Here we got metadata. Continue this until we got security access key. Closing slash on metadata. Send request. Here we got I am. Then again send request. Security credentials and admin. Yeah, here we got the security access key, secret access key. Let's see, drop this and off the intercept. Yeah, we complete. Let's see how to prevent XSE. One, disable external entities. External entities and feature in a XML file that let you to pull data from outside sources like files or URLs that were XSE attacks arrays. In that time, you can disable them. When you disable them, the attacker can no longer define malicious entities like etc pass wd. Next, use safe parsers. XML parser built in with security in mind, especially to block things like XSE and DOS attacks. These parsers automatically disable DTDs, block external entity, detect recursive structure. In Python, defeat XML, block XXE and DOS attacks. That means denial of service attack. In Java, XAX parser block DTDS. In .NET, XML reader disable DTDS. Next, validate and sanitize input. Even if you disable XML features, you still don't want users sending you junk XML or malformed structure that could crash your app. At that time, you can validate and sanitize the input. That validation means making sure that XML structure contains only safe and allowed tags attributes. Sanitizing means removing the dangerous in XML input like special character or unexpected attributes. Use web application firewall. That web application firewall sits between apps and internet. It watches all incoming requests and blocks the anything that looks suspicious or known to be malicious. At that time, uh, that prevent the XSE attack. Thank you. I hope this session helped you to understand how powerful and dangerous that XSE injection and XML file can be not handled securely. Thank you.